Hi John, welcome to the NOA Symposium. Could you please give us a brief description of your role and what it involves?
Yeah, I'm John Ashworth. I'm the VP Finance Transformation for Pearson, which is an educational services business, and I'm responsible for our BPO contracts, primarily in the F&A space.
Why are as-a-service contracts superior to legacy contracts?
So I think as-a-service contracts give you a little bit more flexibility. The world is changing very quickly in terms of the types of business models that companies are having to support these days. And I think the old legacy contracts are starting to look a little bit jaded in terms of their being stuck with a particular set of activities or some particular limitations. And the as-a-service model gives you that flexibility to cope with that evolving business state.
Do legacy contracts still have a place in the modern world of outsourcing?
And I don't think legacy contracts will go away entirely. I think legacy contracts have a value, typically I think for the more classic back office transactional services. I think it's when you get into the world of data or when you get into the world of analytics, you need a little bit more agility in terms of the service contract model.
What technology and talent does a buyer need in order to make it as a service work for them?
I think the buyer in this new as-a-service contract model needs to have a decent understanding of what technologies are available, to understand how the cloud works, to understand some of the more agile service delivery models. I think that helps, but I don't think you need to be a technology expert per se. But I think you need to be open-minded, you need to be acquisitive, you need to think differently and perhaps a little laterally about how some of the pricing models may work, for example, or possibly some of the reward mechanisms that define the contract.
How does transitioning to as-a-service affect buyer-supplier outsourcing relationships?
The transition from traditional legacy contracts into as-a-service type models, I think potentially puts a little bit more strain on the personal relationship. There requires to be collaboration on both sides. I mean, most contract relationships ultimately are defined by the strength of the relationship between buyer and seller. But I think this will take buyer and seller into areas that they may not be quite as comfortable with in an as-a-service contract. And they need to display fairness, rationality, calmness and common sense to really make it work.